Right now, your nose is making decisions about the people around you, about who to trust, about who to love, and you have absolutely no idea. Of all five senses, smell is the oldest. The very first living creatures on Earth experienced the world through chemical signals, long before eyes, ears, or skin ever existed. And only smell has one property that no other sense possesses. Every sensation, sight, sound, touch, taste, first passes through the thalamus, the brain's filter. Only then does it reach your conscious mind. Smell doesn't. It goes directly in, straight into the limbic system, into the amygdala and hippocampus, the centers of emotion and memory, without a single filter. This means smell is the only sense that triggers an emotion before you've had a chance to think. Faster than fear, faster than joy, faster than any conscious decision you've ever made. In 2014, scientists at Rockefeller University set out to discover how many smells a human can actually distinguish. The textbook said 10,000. Nobody had really tested it. The result was different. 1 trillion. The human nose can distinguish more than 1 trillion distinct smells, more than the stars in the observable universe. And yet, we only have 400 types of olfactory receptors. A dog has around 1,000. But the combinations those 400 types can create produce virtually limitless variety. The nose turned out to be far more capable than anyone thought. People just weren't looking closely enough. Now, the strangest property of smell, the Proust phenomenon. In 1913, a French writer dipped a biscuit into tea, and the smell instantly transported him decades back, to childhood. With a precision so sharp, it felt like he was actually there. This is not a metaphor. This is neuroscience. Research shows that smells trigger memories that are more vivid, more emotional, and more accurate than any other sensory stimulus. Because the olfactory signal travels directly to the hippocampus, the brain's storehouse of episodic memory. No intermediaries, no filters. A visual memory from childhood, by the time you consciously recall it, has already been rewritten, compressed, distorted by the brain. A smell is stored nearly untouched. The smell of your mother's kitchen, the smell of a school gym, the smell of the sea in one specific summer. They don't just trigger a memory, they trigger a state. Your entire body feels like it's back there. Marketers understood this long ago. Smell is the most powerful tool for influencing human behavior. Not music, not visuals, smell. Because it bypasses the rational mind entirely. In 1995, Swiss biologist Klaus Wedekind conducted an experiment that changed our understanding of how we choose a partner. He asked 44 men to wear the same t-shirt for 2 days straight. No deodorant, no cologne. Then he collected those shirts and had women smell them. The task was simple, just rate whose smell was more pleasant. But the result was not random. Women consistently preferred the smell of men whose MHC genes, the genes that govern the immune system, were most different from their own. Not similar to themselves, different. MHC genes determine how diverse a child's immune system will be. Evolution built in a mechanism. Choose an immunologically different partner, and your children will be healthier. And you make this choice with your nose, not your mind. The next finding was disturbing. Women taking hormonal contraceptives reversed their preferences. They began choosing men with similar MHC genes. A hormonal contraceptive mimics pregnancy. And a pregnant woman is evolutionarily wired to stay close to the genetically familiar, to family, not to strangers. The conclusion? Some couples may have chosen each other by mistake because they met at a moment when one of them was on the pill. The nose had been switched off. The smell of fear is not a metaphor. It's biochemistry. In 2009, scientists at Stony Brook University collected sweat from volunteers in 2 conditions: during physical exercise and in a moment of intense fear before their very first skydiving jump. Then, they had other people smell the samples, without telling them what they were. Fear sweat activated regions in the observers' brains associated with anxiety. Exercise sweat did not. The brain was reading a chemical distress signal and responding with distress. Fear is contagious through smell. You walk into a room where someone is afraid, and your body is already preparing before you've understood what's happening. Companies have known this for a long time. Casinos pipe in calming fragrances so people stay longer. Bakeries direct the smell of fresh bread toward the street. New car smell is sold in a bottle. Dealers spray it on used vehicles. You think you made the decision to walk in, but the smell made it before you did. Now consider what happens when the nose goes silent. Anosmia, the loss of smell, was long considered a minor disorder, an inconvenience. Research tells a different story. People with anosmia suffer from depression at significantly higher rates. They lose pleasure in food, in intimacy, in the simple act of being present in the world. Loss of smell is one of the earliest symptoms of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, years before any other signs appear. The nose signals danger before everything else does. After the pandemic, when millions lost their sense of smell for months, research accelerated sharply. The conclusion? Without smell, people literally lose their connection to life itself. Subscribe. Next week, another thing your body does completely without your knowledge.